Well, firstly, I'd like to welcome you to Mimi Meets. I'm movie mad Mimi. So it's such a pleasure to have you on because ever since I saw you and Bob Biswas, I've been a fan, honestly. I've loved you and Bob Biswas and now Masoom. So yeah, so how have you been taking it all in this year?
It's a lot. It's actually a lot. I mean, I'm actually so happy because when I read Masoom, like when I read the script, I didn't think that my character was so important. Like I knew she was important, but when I went to reading it, I was like, okay, you know what, this is a good part. And I remember when I saw the first 2 episodes, I got so scared because I was like, okay, this is like she's running it, and I have to be good enough and convincing enough for the audience, because if I don't ask the questions, the audience doesn't get the answers. So that was not something that I thought of when I read the script. So when I watched the show, I was honestly really, really scared about how it's going to be taken by people, how people are going to, look at me, because I'm literally like, from the start to end, you're with Sana as a character. But it's done really well, and I mean, the reviews have been great, so I'm just more surprised than anything.
It was honestly, I would put it as like up there with one of the finest OTT performances because, I mean, from the opening scene, that minute, like when you're just like hearing your mom's voice in your head and you're crying in the car, and I feel the pain. Like, I mean, you internalized it so much and there's so much restraint there, and I just felt your dard. Like, honestly, like I actually felt like I just really feel for this girl. Like, what's happened?
So happy that you felt that. I mean, it's like the biggest thing, because my only thing was that if I am feeling anything, it has to come across so that the audience can empathize with the girl, so that they can understand where she's coming from, because she is a very unreasonable person. You realize that through the show, that she jumps to conclusions very fast, and I feel like lots of it had to be justified with the way I was portraying her. So I'm actually really happy that you felt that.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about Masoom and Bob Biswas in a minute, but I want to actually ask you like a movie mad question. Like everyone I meet, I have to ask them. So what's the first film that made you fall in love with cinema?
Oh, wow. Well, that's a tough question. I think when I watched, this is odd, but when I watched Interstellar,
yeah,
for me, that was like, I mean, I was quite blown. For me, it was obviously the performances, but I think Christopher Nolan's brain is something that I just want to pick apart and like see what goes on in there, because there's so much happening there.
Like the end of Inception, his films are just like so out there. I'm still confused about the end of Inception.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And when I saw the performances in those films, I was like, I want to be able to do this. Like, I want to be in a film like this, which makes you think when it's over. Like, you're just questioning your entire existence when the film is over. So, so I think that, like, that really made me think. Yeah.
Yeah. So what actually inspired your sort of acting journey?
I didn't want to act actually till I was about 17 or 18. I didn't want to act. I did my degree in psychology because I wanted to do that. So I started on IFA, which is this award ceremony. I was the person who used to get the cards for the actors when they wanted to go for dinner or to send them to friends. I was organizing certain shoots. So when you go to a country abroad, they basically sort of expect you to do a couple of shoots in different parts of their country so that they can promote tourism. So I was handling a bunch of those shoots with like Ritik Sir and Richa Chadda and Bipasha Basu. So I had a bunch of these shoots which I was handling, and I remember seeing that right outside their hotel, which was in Tampa in Florida, and there were people who used to camp outside the hotel. They would literally carry their food, they would carry tents. I remember thinking, that's a lot of love. and adoration that all of these people have from an audience. And then I started working as an assistant director, and I realized that I was itching to be in front of the camera rather than behind it. In working on films versus psychology, like it was dipping. So I was like, okay, I'm clearly more interested in this.
When I first saw you as Minnie in Bob Biswas, I was like, you just summed up that student experience. Like, I'm minus the blue tablets, but you summed up that student pressure that everyone goes through. Because I was thinking, like, yeah, I went through this exact same thing. Like, she's constantly like drinking coffee, there's no sleep, nothing. And I'm thinking, who is this girl? I love her throughout the entire film, and you held your own. And there's so many nuances in your performance, and I was like, yes, I have to talk to Samara. But then obviously now after Masoom, even more so, like Samara Sana. When you got the part of Sana, like, so how did you kind of get into the mind frame of becoming Sana Kapoor? Because there's so many things going on in her head, like she's backing so many demons, like from the past.
Yeah. It was really draining, actually, a lot of the times, because I remember, again, upon reading the script, I thought, oh, okay, yeah, this is great. And then my first day of shoot, and I had 3 scenes where I was just crying. And I went home with a headache. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to do this every day. So I should get it together and just, figure this out for myself. And I realized so many things that I felt about Sana, which came from me, I think, and she has anxiety, she has depression. So I had like a part of my life where I was feeling that. So I just sort of drew from those feelings that I felt at that point. And obviously I had Mihir, who, if I had 5 things going on in my head, he would just come to me and add a 6th. And then in the next thing, add a 7th. And I was like, okay. I was just like, okay, fine, cool. I think you watched the show, so there's a scene where I'm washing off the blood.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, okay, she is angry, she's shocked, she's disgusted, and she's guilty. And then Mihir just came to me and said, just add another layer, like add a layer where she feels like her father is wrong. And I was like, how? And he was like, no, just do it. And he was pushing me to do that. And I think that made so much of a difference, because he would add so many things to my performance and make me do things I didn't think I could do as an actor. So it took me, it was draining. Like there were points, I think, when we were shooting, when I felt that the cremation scene, I remember I cried, and after they called cut, I had to step out for like 2 minutes and finish crying by myself. Because I was like, okay, I can't just stop here just because you've called cut. Like I need to let this out, whatever's inside. And there was a point when I actually thought that was my actual mother. So I think it played with my head quite a bit, playing Sana.
That was so true. Like when that scene was happening, I was like distraught. Like I was thinking, like I couldn't imagine this, and I wouldn't want to like even think about imagining this. What they're going through. And when Sanjeev, like the Kittu, is trying to, he can't even like set fire. Like how difficult that must be. And I'm thinking, I don't want to even think about it. But then that show kind of made me think about it, and it's so true. That, and Mihir, I've been a great fan of his work since I saw Mirzapur. And so so how did you guys, like, is that sort of like how it was
when I really had breakdowns happening? The second camera DOP, who would look at me after the scene and say, are you okay? And then I had Mihir, who would be like, oh, epic, too good, done, locked. And I was like, how are you happy about this? He actually helped me break out of certain things and give me a break from the the heaviness of it. When it comes to acting, I actually tend to underplay certain things. So he would always come and tell, Ki, do more. That really pushed me. I mean, at times I used to be worried that, am I not being able to do this? But then he used to show me the take and say, this is where it needs to be seen. And I understood a lot more. And he really honestly helped me build myself as a performer. So I have a soft
Yeah.
spot for him in my heart.
Honestly, like ever since I saw Mirzapur, and I was like, yeah, I, I love exactly like, even like the sort of framing of certain angles in the show. Like one of the angles I love is, you know, when Sana is counting the statues in the garden,
Yeah.
and the camera's shifting as if it's Sana's head, like she's like counting.
Yeah.
Like it's so many, and there's like a distorted, like sort of zooming in when she's kind of watching her dad throw the statue in the river. And like so many clever angles going on there. I'm thinking, how does he even think of these? Like they're so
He has
clever.
such a beautiful vision, you know.
Yeah.
It's unreal. Like there's so many shots in the show, and like Gunwant falling. It could have easily been a close up, and all you needed was a really wide shot, and it just explains itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. The entire family unit, I love like that. It's quite an intimate family, but it's dysfunctional, of course. But what families? I think every family has a sort of dysfunctional element about them. So I love like that. Like there's a Bomanji, there's Upasanaji, and then there's Veer and Manjari. So how was it like kind of working together to become that family unit, which is the Kapoors?
It was honestly great. I mean, I think, you know, Veer, Manjari, and I were, we had like a scene to do together the first day that we all met. And I hadn't met them before. And so we spent all our time, which was about 4 or 5 hours, sitting in the vanity. And we opened, you know, the vanity has like 3 doors. We opened all our 3 doors and like joined it into one and just sat and chatted. We just kept talking, and I think that's what helped us build a relationship with each other, because for us to have to get into a scene instantly without knowing each other much, it would have been difficult. But I think we all spoke so much and we chatted so much, and then we had Baman sir, who was a dream. He was a dream to work with. And I think for all three of us, I mean, he's a veteran. So, I mean, I was the newest on set. I had the least experience as compared to anybody on that set. But I think me, Manjari and Veer and I, all three of us learned so much from Baman sir. We used to play a word game. And I didn't know we could play games in between takes. I thought, okay, I have to be in my space and I have to be in my zone. And I was like, oh, okay, you can do this also. And it actually helped us. Yeah, it actually helped us get out of the character for a bit and then have to come back in, and that made us perform better. So I think we were all just giving and taking from each other, and you know, we were encouraging each other. And I think that was the best part of having all of these actors as, you know, a family in the show, because nobody was thinking about, oh, you know, I should do this better than this person. You know, you felt very safe.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of Bomanji, like I still think Dr. Saab is kind of not telling us the truth, but we'll see. We'll see, obviously, in the future. Fingers crossed for season 2. Maybe he hasn't said the 100% the truth about what happened to Madam G. With the sister in the end, like her husband's missing. So I kind of think Dr. Saab is kind of like, he's always somewhere and doing something shady. So no one's really Masoom in the show, except for maybe the mom, Gunman.
The mom. I think
no one else.
She's the only one who could take that title. Nobody else.
Exactly. No one else is. And even like the location, like it seems so like real, like it's shooting like. And you capture that sort of Punjab like vibes that you go when you go to Punjab, like sort of the haze and the sort of culture you see around Punjab, and even like the Punjabi, like the folk music and the poetry. Oh, the poetry is so beautiful. Like
I think that made the show, you know, what it is. Like that, I think Anand Bhaskar and there's Gini Devan, they did the music and the poetry. And I remember when I watched the show, when I watched a rough cut, they had attached the music to it. And even when we were shooting, there was the one scene where I read the poetry. So before that, there was one of the songs that were playing on set for the, you know, the people who was playing the music in the scene. So that was being played for them to hear. And I remember humming it. As I finished shooting, I went home, I was still humming, and I remember messaging me saying, I want the song. I really, really like the song. And I think that for me was so much assurance and reassurance, because I was like, the music's gonna be kick-ass, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, it may not, forget the performances, forget the direction. I know
Music.
visually and the music is gonna make this show.
I mean, I love the theme tune as well. Like, it's just so like kind of like there's something like haunting about it, and I just love it. And even like a Jogie is so beautiful. That sort of, I've been humming it actually for the last few weeks as well. Like, speaking of, like, I've been like humming Jogie in my head, like especially when Sanjeev sings it with his mom together. Oh, it's so lovely, honestly. Like and that's what I like, because it just kind of captures that authenticity, like, of Punjab. Like, and it's integrated so well into the show. Like, it just seems so real. Like, I feel like I am in Faloli, like in Punjab. Like, is there a particular scene that's really close to your heart?
There's definitely the cremation scene.
Yeah.
And there was the blood washing scene, and there was also me at the end, the last scene with Baman sir, which I did.
Yeah.
That, I think these three scenes were very, very close to me, because I felt a lot when I was doing these scenes, and it was very, very real from where it was coming from within me. I remember when I really, really cried, and I think I think they pan up in the sequence at the end to Baman sir's face. But I had literally like dug my face into his collar, and I was just howling. I was like, there's a camera, it doesn't matter, I need to cry.
Yeah.
So, for me, that is what it was. And there was, I think, after a point with Baman sir, our off-screen, relationship was so different from on-screen.
Yeah.
And in that last scene, I got to sort of play the off-screen relationship with him. And I think I was feeling so much at that point that it came out. And I remember, like, I just hugged him after that for like a good 5 minutes.
Yeah, because in real life he's quite like a bubbly character, and then Dr. Saab isn't bubbly. Like, he's quite scary. I'm scared of him. Like, I'm thinking, like, I wouldn't want to be on his bad side, because and the way he's kind of like always telling Sana, I'm not going to take responsibility for you. And if you're going to carry on like this, can we please get things done in peace for the next few days? And it's just like, he's so cold. He's so cold to Sana. I'm thinking, like, and actually, personally, like, if there's a season 2, fingers crossed, if there is, I would love to see like what happened in the past, like what she's been doing those 10 years in Delhi, like how she's kind of lived by herself, like what she's gone through, and the reason why she's kind of become like, and when she returns home for the first time after years, that would be amazing to see, because like just a continuation. That's what I'm hoping, because I thought it was genuinely one of my favorite like OTT shows, kind of like Mirzapur for me. It's always like, it has a special place, like in your heart. It just kind of like, you feel so happy that you watch this, and even my parents and my brother, they love the show. And they absolutely love the show. I told them, my mom and dad, about it, and they even like quoting like Punjabi poetry after the show's finished. They're basically just going and saying, "Oh, that was such a lovely line where Gunwant and Dr. Saab are singing to each other," and they and even like that flashback episode was so nice. Like when you just see like the doctor and his wife basically just for the full like maybe 20 minutes, you just see them together. I love that. Like,
but it actually is, that is what they actually were, and that is how they were. And I think it was a beautiful episode. Like, it was just so, the end of that episode, when he does do the deed. That was I remember crying. Like, I was just, and I messaged him saying that, you made me cry. and I don't cry easily when I watch movies. I don't. But he was so honest, and that is something that I just learned, from Baman sir. And I think Upasana ma'am also, when I'm not a very affectionate person, but I think there was a scene where I'm hugging her and lying down next to her, and I was not uncomfortable. I mean, Mihir laughs at me because I had a few scenes where I'm holding Veer's hand, or I'm, trying to console him. And I remember I just did it once the first time, and Mihir just came to me and said, "Can you mean it?" I was like, okay, sorry. So I'm not a very affectionate person, but I think I didn't feel uncomfortable hugging her and holding her. Like I actually felt like, oh, okay, you know what, this is my mom, and this is how I am. And I really felt like after a point that I was Sana, and that is my mom,
And
and
he's calling you Mittie.
yeah, and I there was no discomfort at all. So I think I felt so secure with both the senior actors that we had.
She's so loving. Like she's even okay that she knows Dr. Saab can kind of go off to his separate life. He has a second family, and
Right.
she's completely okay with that. And I just, yeah, it's like such a courageous character she is, I think.
Yeah.
Like she's gone through so much.
It takes a lot for somebody to be okay with their partner sort of moving on and being with someone else, and it's really really hard on the person who's saying that, okay, yeah, I'm fine with this. But I think she just played it so well and with so much like emotional maturity, and it just showed.
And I think, and speaking of emotional maturity, I think you as an actor, Bob Biswas and Masoom, honestly, I'm thinking, yeah, like you are like one of my favorite people to watch. I'm telling you now, like I'm looking forward to whatever you're going to be doing next, because I'm so, like, I love the way you do your performances, because it's like, it's restrained. There's so many nuances, and you internalize it. Like you kind of bear your soul like through your eyes, and I'm thinking, yeah, just you tell us so much through your eyes, and I love that. Like, so I can't wait to see more and more of you. And yeah, and speaking of which, like, what kind of roles are you now looking to be a part of?
I'm actually looking for, I'm not looking for something specific. I think whatever sort of comes my way, for me, it's the script and it is the character and how much I can sort of bring to the table with that character. Because I constantly want to be able to do something different in whatever I do, So I'm also seeing, the next thing I do, I want it to be a little happier. Because the last two things have been pretty dark.
You must have been dehydrated after both Bob Biswas and Masoom because of all the tears.
Oh my god, Bob Biswas! I remember after it released, I got messages from people asking me, "Blue hai kya? Blue kahan milega?" And I remember thinking, "Great, this is great," you know. But but yeah, no, I am looking for something that's probably happier. But even if that doesn't come my way, I think for me, what matters is the content, the script, and what the characters like. Because I want to do everything. I want to like literally do everything, because I like to like push myself to try newer things and be able to challenge myself for certain things, which is why I was so happy to have, like, even with Bob, I had Diya Ghosh, who was directing me. It was her first time also. But again, I mean, she would just take one take after the next, after the next, after the next. And I remember one day I took a lot of takes and I was a little sort of, concerned, because I thought, oh, like, am I not managing to do this anymore? What's going wrong? And I remember asking her, and she told me, she said, I think I took like 10 or 11 takes for that one scene. And I asked her, I said, because before that, I was like, she would be like, okay, in the third take, I got it. And I was like, oh, okay. And this kept happening. And I asked her, I said, did you settle? Because I don't want you to settle. Like, I will work to give you, what you want. I mean, did you just do that because we have a time constraint? Because I'm open to like trying more takes. And she said, oh no, I got it in the fifth one. I just wanted to see like what else you could do with it. And I was like, do you want to tell me this? She said, no, why would I tell you? You won't push yourself otherwise.
Oh, that's so cool. Like, that's actually a really good way of working. Like, I didn't think of that, but like, that's wow. That's actually really,
So, I had two people who were directing me who really, really knew how to get stuff out of me, which is what I really, really like, because I still don't know that much about how I can, do something on my own. I do need a push up until right now, because I've done two projects, but both the projects have had such helpful directors and such encouraging directors that I'm like, okay, you know what, the next one, let's see.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's so true. Like both performances have been so solid. Like I'm thinking, everyone's mentioning like how good you were in Bob Biswas and how great you were in Masoom, and so it's honestly, yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, like it's so like what you've done in just two roles. You've made such a like a legacy in like the first year. I'm thinking, wow, not many actors can do that in the first year. Like I believe you as a Mini, I believe you as a Sana, I believe this person is real, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, I think, I think the biggest, I have got a compliment from one of my friends, from two of my friends, which what like one of them is my best friend, and she doesn't watch anything Bollywood. She's not very big on that. And but she said, she called me and she said, I started watching the first episode, and then I watched the second, and then I watched the third, and then I finished it. So I was like, oh, and then she was like, but like, I didn't think it was you. And for me, that was the best thing I could have heard. And another friend of mine told me, she actually messaged me saying, Sam, you've been crying for 4 hours straight. Are you fine? I was like, yeah, thanks for asking. I mean, I wasn't when we were shooting,
but it looks like when you watch it together, yeah, like it looks like the whole like, entire season, like from beginning to end, there's tears. But in like, I can watch it easily. Like I when I first watched it like in two sittings. But then when I watched it again, I just watched it all like overnight, just the whole thing.
Yeah, it was like, okay, I mean, people might watch it. I didn't know the exact length of the episodes.
Yeah,
because it's too long, then you do take longer to finish it, because you'll take a break, you'll do that. But everybody that I know binged it. And like the first night, I think it came out, it released at 12 a.m. on the 17th. And I got a message from one of my friends at 5 a.m. saying I binged it. I finished it. I couldn't stop watching. I haven't slept. And I was like, what?
Yeah, and it seriously, like, it keeps you hooked, like from beginning to end, because obviously, and also I like the names of each episode has something to do, like there's Mukaddar, there's Deet, and then there's Renuma, and like I love like the names, even like they're so memorable, like and it's so like difficult to kind of keep a viewer hooked for the entire series, but like honestly, my dad, I'll tell you now, my dad, he kind of loses interest in things all the time. Like it's so hard to watch anything with my dad because he watches the first 2 episodes and then he kind of like loses interest, and then we never finish a season with him. And then I end up watching it myself. That's what happens with my dad. With Masoom, it wasn't like that. He watched the entire thing from beginning to end, and literally wanted more. He was like, oh, but what? It's finished? and that's what shows like, and he's felt like this with a few shows, like so Mirzapur and Masoom, and also Patil Lok, he felt that with as well. And this and he's and I'm thinking, yeah, like my dad usually he's not easy to please, like when it comes to watching stuff. Like we like as a family find it so difficult to watch anything. But like he absolutely loved it, and he's like, oh wow, there needs to be another one, and he's quoting stuff from the show that shows how much it's resonated with him. And we're also Punjabi, so maybe that's why as well. So he's loving it, like kind of like brings you back, and that's the beauty of it. And even Bob Biswas, like he definitely loved Bob Biswas.
He did. When I was playing Mini, I remember I still, I would, if I had to give exams again, I would panic. I would literally panic. I mean, I used to, and I felt that I was like, okay, you know what? And obviously, I didn't study to be like a doctor like Mini did, but I did.
Psychology is so like
but I wanted my grades, because I had another plan. I wanted to go abroad and study. I wanted to do all of that, so I needed the grades. And I remember, this one day, I had a paper and I slept at about I think 2 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up again at 4 a.m. and revised everything. And
I remember those nights.
Left for college at like 7, and then I was sleepy by then once I reached college, and I think I remember chugging 2 Red Bulls because I was like, I need to be awake and give this paper. And while I was writing my paper, my hands were just shaking.
Oh no!
no more Red Bull for you. It's not
Yeah, no, that happens. Like I honestly, I remember those nights as well. And you see, I did law. My background is in law, so I was doing this land law exam. Oh my God, I had no sleep, and it was in like East London, so it's far away in the middle. Like I have to get there for 9 in this like on the train and on the tube. London is always busy at that time, so it was honestly like the biggest nightmare. And just going back to, I feel sorry for people who are doing exams now. Like I'm thinking like, how did we do it back then?
I really think about that honestly, because I'm just like, I don't think, like, I study. I mean, I do study even now, but I study what I want to study. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I
the
do
difference.
go
Yeah.
back to psychology because I wanted to do criminology. So I think when
Hmm.
lockdown happened, I did delve a lot deeper into that. And I
Yeah.
have notes on my laptop, which I don't know when I'll use in my life, but I just made notes. And I realized, oh, this is how studying should feel, not what it was.
Yeah, it's true. When you take there's no pressure, and then
Yeah,
you actually end up learning more.
yeah,
I find that as well. You actually understand it more when there's no deadline or pressure attached to it.
exactly. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
so true.
100%. And I realized that about myself, and I said, oh, you know what? I'm learning so much. Like I have random dates and names in my head right now, but it's because I didn't have to do it. Like I
Yeah,
just
that
did.
you learn it more.
Yeah. So I think that, and I remember thinking, I was like, I could not go to a classroom and give an exam anymore. I do not want to go through that stress. So I think when I got to play mini, I just used all the stress that I had and
Yeah.
just did it.
Yeah, it's so true. And it just comes, you can see like I felt like yeah, I felt like Minnie there. Like obviously minus the
Yeah,
blue.
yeah,
But I did feel like Minnie, because of like, yeah, I remember those nights, like you just like those sort of angsting that used to go on, and
yeah.
then results day. Oh no, the results day was the worst for me. But like honestly, it just takes me back, and that's what I love, like with the power of like OTT. It's like all the content that's been coming out in the last few years, especially, it just kind of it's a reflection of real life, and that's what I love. Like, so I'm actually enjoying OTT way more than cinema, and as you can tell, like I'm a huge Stranger Things fan as well, so I love OTT in general. But yeah, so I can't wait like to see more content from you,
Yeah,
and hopefully I'll see you in cinemas as well, like one day.
I hope so too.
Because I'm thinking you, Rasika Dugal, Anshul Singh, Shivangi Singh, all these like faces of OTT are proving themselves, and like kind of like are so strong, and just
Yeah.
like I can't wait to see, like I've got like a list of people I'm constantly watching out for, and you're on that list. And so is Mihir. Like all his work I've absolutely enjoyed. And so, and actually, what speaking of Mihir, I would love to see you in like Mirzapur. I'm not sure, like I would love to see that. Like I think you could easily fit in that world. But
I did tell him, I was like, just put me in. But then Mihir isn't part of Mirzapur this
yeah,
year.
not anymore. Yeah, he's not in season 3 anymore. So yeah, and I think they're already filming now. But I
Yeah.
mean, season 4. But yeah, no, it's so true, and I thank you so much for taking the time. This has been so much fun. Like I love like getting to know you, and this is what I love. I like getting to know new faces and fresh faces, because it's just so like I'd like to like kind of watch them grow in a way. And
Thank
so
you so
yeah,
much.
and
Thank you so much. I'm so happy I did this interview with you. I mean, this was such a fun, fresh, light interview. And like, it was just, I think it was the most flowy interview I've had. So thank you.
really, oh, thank you. No, because that's what I like. I like it's like mine two styles, more like kind of like two friends are having a chat, like
Yeah,
over
yeah.
coffee. Like, that's what I like. I don't like this like sort of. I mean, no offense to anyone else, but like I don't like this sort of like give a quick one word answer
Correct.
or anything.
Yeah.
Like, there's no pressure. I
Yeah.
like this free flowing coffee type conversation.
100%.
Yeah, and so thank you so much for doing this. And hopefully, if you come to London, look me up, and if I come to India, yeah,
Please, please tell me.
we'll definitely do a coffee. We'll do something in person. Actually, that would be great.
100%.
Yes. So, but take care, and I wish you all the best for the future, because and as I've said again, I can't wait to see more of you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.